I've never been in a room with so much attention, presence. I mean, I have chills. This is a more present and awake group than I've ever experienced in my life. So I thank all of you. It's sort of a web of support that you don't even know the questions to ask or the people you're meeting, and I'm just bathing in the whole thing and with extraordinary gratitude for you of, like you said, it's indescribable, you know, just the experience.
You studied history in school, and in doing so, you learned about amazing people and the outstanding things they were able to achieve. Maybe some of those historic figures were Alexander the Great, Mother Teresa, Leonardo da Vinci, or a modern-day legend like Steve Jobs. Whoever you were interested in, there was one thing you couldn't do. You couldn't hear directly from them. Ask them questions and have a discussion with them. That's going to change today because your next speaker has made history. On December 14th, Jason Fladlien made internet history by generating $57,914,510 in sales from a product launch. Let me say that again, 57 plus million in sales. Jason has been a longtime member of Genius Network and is the co-founder of Rapid Crush. Plus, he's worked with many members on improving their webinars and generating millions of dollars in the process. Jason has many unique abilities in addition to being able to put on webinars and do product launches. He has an uncanny ability to spot market opportunities that are exploding. We've asked Jason to share with you in detail his launch strategy and how he monetized that opportunity with his product launch. You will learn priceless information from Jason. His title is Secrets from the Biggest Internet Marketing Product Launch in History. Please welcome Jason Fladlien.
Thank you for that welcome. I can honestly say I deserved it. Whew, did you hear about the money that I made? Isn't that crazy? Joe says, let's not tell anybody. Let's keep it a secret. I said, no, let's tell everybody on the planet. It's good for the brand, but it's also, I want to help you see what's possible in markets that most people think is impossible. So let's take a trip back in time, March 25th of last year, 2021. And that was a day that I owned $0.00 in crypto. I didn't know crypto, I didn't like crypto, I didn't want crypto. I was happy living life without crypto. And then I get a meeting that day. I was blindsided into a meeting with the man that literally introduced me to Joe Polish once upon a time in 2014. We get on this call, he shows me something cool, I buy some crypto. December 15th, we close cart, 57 some odd million dollars. That's how fast it happened. It went from knowing nothing about this market, no product, no asset, no position, nothing, to 57 million. To me, that's even more impressive than the number, the speed of execution and implementation. So how the hell did we do it? How did we do this? I want you to have a number so big that you round down $914,510, because it's too hard to say. You just say, $57 million. I want that for you. Do you want that for you? Okay, good. We're in the right place. Tip of the iceberg. I got 10 minutes to distill something like this. Can I even scratch the surface of it? Nah, I'm good, but I'm not that good. But I'm going to try my best, okay? So we're going to go a little bit fast. What were we selling? A product called The Plan. By the way, what a baller-ass name that is for a product. You want to own a market? You just claim the blank, and nobody can dispute it. So we're The Plan. You have a plan. We have The Plan. We win. So the plan was created by Dan Hollings. He's the gentleman that we published. He came to us about 12 years ago because he was the marketing guy behind The Secret. You know, that small little thing that ended up on Oprah? And he was burned out. He said, I don't want to do business anymore. I just want to teach. We started publishing him back then off and on. He'd come to us with crazy ideas. We made a lot of money together. Hadn't heard from him in 5 years until he came to us with this idea. So the plan is essentially him doing 10,000 crypto automations, spending millions of dollars, testing up these crypto bots in the span of 3 years. And he says to us, hey, listen, you want to sell this? We say, maybe. Let's test it first, okay? Now here's the key to all successful launches. Just 3 things. Traffic, conversion, fulfillment. That's it. It's so simple, even a CEO can understand that.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
That's all we got to do. So what do we do in traffic? Here's all we did. Affiliates, brokers, word of mouth. What's missing on this slide? I didn't pay a single penny for this traffic. Some guys make $50 million, but they spend $60 million. That doesn't count. We didn't spend a single penny on traffic. That's not to say we didn't pay for the traffic. We just didn't buy it up front from Facebook. We had these things called affiliates. So here are some of our smaller affiliates. All of them generated over $1 million in revenue in sales, of which they made $590,000, $423,000, $550,000. These are affiliates making money because they're referring customers to us. That's a pretty good clip of money. So this guy right here, this affiliate, he did okay for us. He did 1.5 in sales. He kept $595,000. We created Leaderboard. This is game theory, right? You want to make people do well? Don't convince them on how much it'll help their customers. That's boring. Show them how much cooler they will be than the next person so they can compete with each other. We gave away prizes. We gave away $100,000 to the first prize here, which was Stefan and Tatiana. They sold 700 plus units. Do the math on that. That's incredible, right? This time, because Dan owns millions of dollars of NFTs, this time we're giving away a $450,000 NFT on our next launch. I think we're going to make 50-some million dollars smaller in size with this next launch. Now, we did something else. We did brokers. Brokers are essentially the ones who would feed us the affiliates. And they got 10% just to feed us the affiliates. So this guy right here, we referred one affiliate to us, and we paid him $150,000. This is the kind of traffic that I like to get. You take care of the traffic, I take care of the conversion. That's what I want to do. Try to do traffic and conversion. Guy said to me once, he's like, I'm going to get this right, Jason, or I'm going to die trying. And then he died. You can't do both. I live in conversion land. I can do a lot with a little. Give me a few people, give me enough time, and I will have their money in my pocket most of the time. I'm on a conversion thing. That's what I like to do. So we did this webinar on opening day of the last launch. We had 11,033 people on that Zoom account. Insane. We converted at 11.2%. And my business partner was pissed when we stopped because we had to go to the next webinar. We slotted 4 hours. We thought that was enough. Turns out it wasn't. We left with 3,000 people still on the call. He nearly had a heart attack. We should have done better. But you live and you learn. This is why you iterate and do these things and you try again. My favorite stat was 6.42% of all leads converted into customers on a product that sold for $3,500. It was non-refundable. They had to sign an NDA to purchase this. I don't mess around. You say, Jason, you can't ask customers to do all that stuff. Well, I just did. Why not? It's your planet. You can make the rules up. If they don't like it, they can spend their money somewhere else. So we focus on conversion. We like traffic from email. You like social media? I hate social media. I want all my traffic from email. It's the best media ever. If I get traffic anywhere else, I launder them through email. So we did less than 200,000 leads to do 57 million. We sent the traffic to this boring page, a webinar registration page. Look at this brilliant headline. If you're in crypto or thinking about investing, you must attend this one-of-a-kind web event. I wrote that. It's not very good, but it converts well. Not creative, but it doesn't need to be. People say webinars are dead. If this is dead, I don't want to be alive. This is killing it, okay? Now, the one thing we did in this webinar is we had a dramatic demonstration. Prior to the launch, we had 18 people pay us $10,000 apiece. Dan taught them these strategies one-on-one, and we got permission to share their open portfolio of all the coins they were holding in that moment whenever we wished to. So we get on a webinar and be like, hey, look at these 18 people. Look how good they're doing. Now, do you want to buy this thing? That's essentially what it was. We established the price point as very high. How can you sell something that doesn't have a price point? What's the value on that? It's nothing until you make it valuable. So we took those 18 people, we say, pay us $10,000 and we'll do this for you. Then I go to the public and say, they paid $10,000. You want to pay $2,500? They don't say $2,500 is a lot of money. They say $2,500 is a deal because it ain't $10,000. You get it? Everybody makes decisions on prices based on relative comparison. So help them, okay? Here's an interesting fact for you. The replay out-converted the live webinar. I can't unpack that today, but people don't understand this fact. I want you to start thinking about how replays should out-convert live webinars, because they do if you do it right. One of the X factors here that we did that was incredibly challenging and hard that we couldn't do without a team was we forced our affiliates to have results with the very process they were promoting. Most affiliates don't even look at the products they promote. They just look at the EPCs, earnings per click, and all that nonsense. We said, if you're going to play with us, you better have results. Every single one of them got on and showed their results, made a huge difference. I attributed $15 million just to that one aspect right there. Now, it took hundreds of hours. Herding cats is easier than dealing with affiliates. But herding cats don't pay as well. Now, just like you can't both do traffic and conversion, not really. You can't ride two horses at once, but there's 3 horses in this race. There's fulfillment. You also got to have the product. You got to have the support. You got to have the infrastructure. So Dan was the man with the plan. He came to us with the product, and we provided the marketing for it. He did the first half of the webinar. He taught them the procedures and techniques and proof, and then I came in and for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, I sold everybody until I either fell asleep or they dropped off. And that's how we made it work. But it was a group effort. Dan brought a whole team with them. He brought all these people like Tony and Elaine and Ian and Daniel and Anthony, Mikey, Ashley. He even had my dog in on this mix. Lots of people were involved. We had 52 people on support. Sometimes people say, Jason, how do you sell so hard? I say, when I got 52 people supporting this, I feel good selling you something. If I had 0 people supporting this, I wouldn't want you to buy it. So it takes a lot. It sounds like it's just good marketing, but it's good everything. Here's the timeline. This is what's insane about this. We have the meeting on March 25th. May 2nd, we emailed people to a Discord group to sell them the $10,000 thing, which we close on May 6th. We get results, and we couldn't take everybody in, so we said we're going to create a beta course for $2,500. They buy that. We do a first webinar on it, close it, teach it. Go back to a second webinar, close it, teach it, refine it. Go back to a third webinar on September, close it, teach it, refine it. Then we do big launch, November 27th. We card open on December 2nd. We card close on December 14th. And we're looking at this big old pile of money. And that is the high-level version of how we set the internet marketing record for biggest launch in history.
Wait, am I on? Okay.
You're always on with me.
So, do you have a down period psychologically after something like this? Because stuff like
I'm
this
still
could be
on it, yeah.
Yeah, it could be exhausting.
So
Which is a very interesting thing I will talk to Ned Hollowell about, perhaps, of when you have a big success, a lot of entrepreneurs go into just a depressed state.
Yeah, I mean, I took a month and a half off. I just started working again like the other week or so. You do feel hollow afterwards in some instances, simply because the adrenaline wears off, and then you're left with the real world. Like, the kids still fight me at bedtime, and the dog still barks at suspicious dogs and wants to eat them for breakfast, and no amount of money changes that. So you kind of feel like, okay, I got to get back to the real world now. But yeah, you're right. There is a depressive state of time because you go from a super high, normal now feels low again.
Well, and the reason I want to bring this up is because me and you were talking about like making money and success and everything, and then I think I've kind of re-entered you into getting into doing cold plunging and all this.
You did, absolutely, yeah.
And you are now sending me, like you're using the Wim Hof app, and you're like holding your breath. I think the last one you sent me, you 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. I did 3 minutes this morning.
Yeah. And,
Crazy.
And the reason I want to bring this up is as we talk about strategy and success and all this, which is incredibly valuable and important for people here in their businesses, there's also this other side of just how one feels in life. And so, and I also find out of, because I think you're still the top webinar trainer in the world. You've made more money and taught your clients how to make more money than anyone in the world in webinars. It's in, I guess, hundreds of millions of dollars now. But you were, before we met, I mean, you were not taking care of yourself as well as you could physically and everything, and so you've had a lot of transformation in that regard. So what advice would you have for people on this journey, because you're around crazy marketers all the time?
Yeah, I think the average entrepreneur is traumatized before they ever become an entrepreneur, because I don't think a sane person wants to become an entrepreneur. No, I'm serious. I know it's funny, but you got to be insane to be an entrepreneur. So typically most of us do that because there's some traumatic experience in our early childhood usually that we haven't healed from. And so, you know, you take care of the money, you realize that doesn't heal the trauma, and then if you're lucky like I was, I start working through the trauma. You helped me out a lot on pointing me to the resources to do that. And so I've made a lot of effort to heal from traumas that have happened to me before I was 8 years old that still affect me at 38 years old, even today. So I would recommend that you do a lot of trauma work. If you're working really hard and too much, there's a problem there. Anything that leads to addiction, there's an underlying problem there that needs to be dealt with. And the sooner the better, and the later the worse. And so being in Genius Network helped me understand that side of the business as well. Because, you know, you come from trauma, I come from trauma. And so by Joe being vulnerable, it allowed me to feel more comfortable being vulnerable with myself, which, by the way, made me a better marketer, too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what advice would you give for anyone what to pay attention to, read, look at, study that you have done recently? I mean, everyone can get a copy of Jason's book if you haven't already, which he explains his process. I mean, that whole book kind of walks you through the salesmanship and it's great psychology. Yeah,
the book's one to many. Definitely get that, because I break down the whole webinar process I predominantly use. But if you can find and watch one of my webinars, that's going to be your best education, because it's a masterclass. Like Joe can tell you, when we launched Genius Webinars, people literally made money on the free webinar, hundreds of thousands of dollars in some instances, regardless of whether they bought our product or not. So my attitude is, how do I construct a webinar where it's so valuable just by being there that whether you buy the product or not, you're successful on the thing that I'm teaching as much as possible. And so that's the attitude of everything that we do. And so if you can watch a webinar of mine, you would see that personified. It's not learning how to swim in a seminar. It's getting in the pool.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I hope you found that video awesome and useful. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, I want you to click here. And if you want to watch some more videos that'll be useful and awesome, click here. Go ahead. They're over here. Do it now. Come on. Thank you. Watch them.